Hello, welcome back to Cardiff City World. I am joined with a very special guest today. I am your host, Evan James, as always. Slightly different, not on a Saturday Night Live, so I almost said that. Thursday Night Live instead. I'm joined with Mr. I was going to say the know-it-all then. No, in the know person, but no, we just said about that. No, Sai, thank you very much for joining me. And you won't be here for the full show, but I really appreciate you joining on for the first 10 or so minutes just to discuss a few things you've been up to as well. It's nice to see you in the chat as well. Sarah, nice to see you. Evening, Mark, as well. Evening to myself. I was getting there. Jeff, evening as well. All members so far, amazing. So let's just get straight into it. I've got some other stuff later on to talk about in terms of where do Cardiff City stand in terms of League One. What are our chances of getting promoted? What can we expect? So I've got basically things to do with different betting odds, along with I've actually gone through an entire season of calculating every single fixture, just making my predictions for all the 46 weeks of all the teams. And it'd be interesting to see where everyone's finished. So I'll show you later on. And then maybe some hot takes at the end of what we can expect for League One. So very exciting stuff. But first of all, Sai, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Very, very tired. So I'm just going to be a very fleeting, quick sort of 10-minute say hello, and then I'm going to go bed because it's been a very long day traveling and driving and whatnot, and it's been hot as well. So I was driving along the motorway, and even though I was only probably a couple of hours into the drive, I was falling asleep. Not falling asleep properly, but just feeling really lethargic.
Yeah.
Plowing through the monster. And I really got to get a Monster sponsorship because it's costing me a fortune in the services to get the old cans of Monster going.
Hashtag please sponsor us, Monster.
I know, innit?
Yeah. Well, one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where was it actually you travelled to then? If it took a few hours to get there.
So I won't say exactly where, but just outside.
Oh, yeah.
Just sort of to the side of London and away. So obviously,
I
was very lucky. I put a picture up on social media so people. I mean, most members knew anyway. But kind of before I wanted to get into that, I did want to say, right, life is proper fragile. And I know, we all, we live and die by Cardiff City and opinions and this and that. And it feels like life and death. But ultimately it's not. And look, I had a couple of emotional moments today talking about fathers, because that's something which is it's an emotional subject for me. And it's an emotional subject for the person who I was chatting to. And then as I was traveling up, I had a text message to say that Diogo Jota had passed away in a car accident, and it's just crazy. He got married 2 weeks ago, and he's playing for the champions of, or was playing for the champions of Liverpool, champions of England. It's a frightening thing, man. You can be here and in love and life, or times are difficult and all these different things, and it's just taken away from you. And I wanted to just make a mention of that because I think we all are guilty of getting caught up in stuff that ultimately it don't really matter. When the grand scheme of things, we all want different things and success and all these things, but ultimately the things that matter are the little things with the family, the kids, whatever it may be. And I think it's just worth mentioning that because as Liverpool fans, as Cardiff fans, we've been through it ourselves with Emiliano Sala. I think it's worth making a mention and passing on our condolences to obviously Diogo Jota, his family and his friends, his teammates, Liverpool fans, and his international teammates as well. It's mad, man. It's sad.
It makes you, it definitely makes you take a step back and realize, well, not to be too philosophical, but for the purpose of this segment of the video, just to think like, and I see a lot of people like, I myself, I'm a very passionate fan, and I know you are, and many others watching. But at the same time, it's like you got to realize, like, no matter if we lose 7-0 to Leeds or we beat Plymouth 5-0, it's like at the end of the day, there's some more important things. And to me, the
Mm.
season stood out for me was the most emotional season, because not only did we have the death of obviously the Salah case and the very emotional tribute match which we played Bournemouth and won. That was very emotional. All the time players singing songs, because it wasn't just about the football, it was about what it meant. And then also shortly before that as well, which was the Leicester chairman Rich or whatever, and that was, I think, Brian By Murphy paid respects to him recently as well. And like it doesn't feel real. And rest in peace is all I can say to those people. And we hope it never happens, but sadly it does. And it doesn't matter whether the player is good or not. Every life is valued equally. It's just a shame. It's just a shame it happens, because you want to do something about it. But at the end of the day, the best, the only thing we can do is show our respects, pay our respects to all these players, and just do the best we can out of everything we got, honestly, not to make it seem like everything's so terminal and final. But again, it's like at the end of the day, if a team loses a game, it's whatever, you can be frustrated. But at the end of the day, you do just kind of move on,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like that. And like it ruins your weekend, it ruins your week, whatever. And like, relegation this year has been particularly difficult to take, but also, like you say, in the grand scheme of things, it's a small thing in your overall life. But don't get me wrong, it matters, and it affects you, and you become emotional about football and about the clubs that you love. But when you see tragedies like that, it's it kind of hits home and reminds you of just how quickly. And I think that's the thing. It's so shocking. It's like I don't want to spend too much time with it, but like this guy must have been like on top of the world 24 hours ago, and then suddenly like his family's picking up pieces of what is a incredibly sad situation. Like it's scary in some ways. Makes you feel quite small and insignificant in the universe and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like look, right, I traveled up to London, or just outside, like just past London, and I was lucky enough to go and do an interview or podcast with Omar Riza, and it was cool. Like he is, like people will say what they're going to say. Some will be negative, some will be positive. But like I tell you one thing, right? As a guy and a human being, there ain't much better. Like he's one of the most genuine people I've ever had the pleasure of talking to, and he's a top bloke. And him and his wife, they welcomed us into their home. They fed us. They just treated us like family, and they were so welcoming. It was very, very, so comfortable, because it's not always comfortable. Like when you go and interview someone in their house, it can be a bit awkward, like, because what is their house? And you've never been there, and you're a bit like, oh, where do you want me to film? Where do you want me to sit? Like all these different things. But there was none of that. Like within seconds of being there, felt welcome. And we sat down and we had a good old chat. I think it's about 2 hours long. I don't know if it'll end up, the final version will be that long, but it was a good chat. We talked about his whole life from start to present day. And I think hopefully it'll give people a bit of an insight into him and into the guy. A bit of an insight into, last season, the tactics, what they were thinking, how they were trying to do it, why maybe it didn't work. But also, and I said this the other day, and I will say it again to be very, very, very clear, right, is if people are thinking he's going to come out and be like, this guy's a prick, this guy's a prick, this guy let me down, this guy, like this, old clubs, what he does, it's not his style, because he loves Cardiff. Like still now, like he says we when he's talking about the club, And, you know, he watched those last final 3 games after he was gone. He wants Cardiff to do well this season. But we did talk about Cardiff and stuff like that. But he's not a bitter guy, like, so he's not like, if people are expecting him to badmouth and whatnot, I think they'll be in for disappointment. But if you're interested in, one, the guy's story, two, some of the reasons for certain decisions and tactics and stuff like that, then it's a really fascinating thing, and it gives you a real insight into him as a guy. The one thing I will say is I bloody forgot, and I said it to him afterwards, and we talked about it. So one of the many things I wanted to discuss with him was the Bristol City game. I think it was his second game after the whole game, and we absolutely had him by the balls. We had scored, and we could have gone on and scored like 2 or 3. I think Ruben missed a big chance, and then on the hour mark, their fans were booing them. Like, we absolutely were, like, we had them where we wanted them. We just needed to take the chances and put them away. And on the hour mark, he went to a back 5 or a back 3, back 5. And I was really intrigued by that, because I was like, that cost us. And during the actual recorded bit, like, we talked about how it was probably the draws that cost him more than the losses in terms of results. There was so many draws in his tenure, and being able to turn those draws into wins when there was some of them probably should have won. There's a few games, Coventry, where you had Callum Robinson sent off and they scored straight away or around the same time. It was interesting to get his insight. But on the Bristol thing, I said to him, like I said, we were playing so well, and then we just took a step back and it didn't seem to have rhyme or reason. And it was really refreshing, because he went, yeah, I got that wrong. I did it too early. I went with 30 minutes to go. I should have left it. But he said, you live and you learn by your mistakes. So that was kind of refreshing. And it was it. The other interesting thing is, he watches my shows. He watches the breakdown on a Sunday.
I have a feeling, yeah.
So his wife was saying, on a Sunday night, like, he'd be sat there, and then I'd be saying whatever, like, and he'd be talking to me, like, talk in his kitchen, like, saying, no, that's bollocks, or like, whatever, just like thinking it. And that's like mad to me. But also, I take it as a bit of a compliment that he was interested enough, in my opinion, that he took the time to do it, or took the time to watch it. And so that was kind of interesting. And like, he called me out on a couple of things off camera, because they were stuff that we couldn't really talk about on camera. But like he said, like, you said this, but you didn't have the cut, or you didn't have the full story, or whatever. And I respect it. I do, like, because anyone who knows me personally, right, I'm all about honesty and loyalty over everything. And it's been costly to me. Like, I could have been so much more clickbaity and like clever with my headlines or my clips, and I haven't. And it's, in the short term, it's definitely been to my detriment. But I believe that in the long term, authenticity will shine through. So that's what I try and do. But from my day-to-day life, the reason my circle is so small is because I'm big on loyalty. And he reminds me of that a little bit. And it's interesting. Like, there's loads of interesting things in there. But as I say, if people are looking for like I don't know what the word is, like a hit piece, you're probably in the wrong place, mate. Like, go look for Sky Sports or whatever for that. That's not me. But if you're looking to hear some context to some stuff, and to get to know the guy, and just hear some of his ideas about football and what he was trying to do, hear some of the things he thinks he got wrong, some of the moments that he really, really appreciated, and like the fans back in, but he also regrets, certain things. So I don't want to spoil it, but like, It is what it is. Some people will like it, some people won't, mate. But I feel very privileged that he was, invited me to his house and was willing to not only invite me to his house and do the show, but also then like to be so hospitable and so genuine. And his wife and my wife were like getting on, and like I think if I hadn't had to chip off, I think we might have ended up cracking open a bottle of wine. Like it was just nice, like But
No,
sorry, I went a bit then.
no, of course. I mean, this is what we're here for, mate. Honestly, but no, I just want to say like two main points. I think about Omar Riza, and that one thing. Like, I think most of us were in unison in saying that he probably wasn't the right guy, more because of how he was set up to fail, like you even said yourself. And
Mm.
I'm sure maybe, well, I'm trying to put words in your mouth, but maybe you mentioned something like that off camera, or I don't know. But
Oh, you just sorry, I just interrupt
go
you.
on.
I literally said to him on the camera today. One of the things I said, it wasn't that what you said. I said he was the right guy at the wrong time, and I stand by that. By the way, I think if Cardiff City had a footballing structure, you get a different version of Omar Riza's team and Omar Riza, because he had to deal with so much stuff that a manager shouldn't be dealing with.
No.
A director of football should be dealing with it. But for sake of
Funny you
beating a
mentioned
dead
that.
horse, mate, we haven't got one.
No, I mean, funny you should mention that, because my other point was going to be like the
Mm.
fact that the three transfers he brought in, two on loan, one permanent. They were really good signings, and to be fair, it sounded like he had to fight to get those signings, especially Salek. And look, I know two of them were loans, and they go back to their clubs. And to be fair, I don't think we'll get Mansberg back, but he's also, I wouldn't say he's good enough to play for Ajax first team. But I thought he was pretty good. And Alves, I thought it was another one which was a good signing, but the wrong time. Kind of just come back from injury, find his feet. We couldn't really expect miracles, but even he looked quite sharp at times. It just is a shame that like we're expecting a 19-year-olds to get us out of relegation scrap. And not only that, it's like you said, the right manager, wrong time. I genuinely think that he probably would have been better at maybe a director of football, or not saying he better, but I think he would have been useful for that, because I think the signings he brought in, I thought were really impressive. It's just a shame, really, that not everything clicked in place. I mean, Christ, Yusuf Saleh, he got us. I mean, that wasn't a board signing. I'm pretty sure someone said anyway that he had to fight his way to get him through. And look where he is now. He's, if we manage to keep him, we've got a gold mine on our team, provided he doesn't get injured. But again, I say, like, it was always going to be a difficult task for him. It's a difficult task for any manager, but I think there was with Bullet anyway. There was a lot more changes that need to happen to get to play his style. When you come in from, especially a league like Turkey, is completely different. And again, I think he was a similar case as well. I think the only difference with Omar Riza is that Omar Riza was a completely open book in terms of, like, he didn't seem to hide anything from anyone. He was such a honest and down to earth guy that I think maybe that he kind of got beaten around with because of that. That's the feeling I got. But at the same time, you can't not appreciate someone who is, like that.
Yeah, he's too honest, mate, in many ways. Like, and I think that in the media, I think he does talk about it, and he says, got to learn from that. He's got to learn from that, because that's probably where he lost the fans, was when that clip or that quote of him slating the fans, which, by the way, I've said it before, was taken out of context.
Yeah.
Because he clarified before he says the bit about the fans. I can't remember what the exact quote is, something about them being idiots or something like that, along those lines. Before he says it, he says he's literally talking about the ones who send him abuse and don't know. And it's like, but that doesn't, in 2025, that doesn't get included in the quote, does it? That doesn't get put on an image as a quote. That doesn't get clipped up, because that's what people do. And he has to learn from that, and I'm sure he will.
Yeah, that's experience, though, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
It's media training, and that's what he doesn't have. And that in some ways can be great. Like, Neil Warnock didn't really take much attention to media training, did he? But let's be honest,
No.
he still had, But like, I understand how that take a context, and at the time we jump on anything because we wanted a reason, we wanted something to blame, and that was the issue really. But like every manager had it. There's always a moment with even with Bullet when he started. His moment was when the media started asking him about like all stats and everything. He said, "Yeah, but we have done this, 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 and this." And then he said some fans, he said, don't understand this, this, and this. And then obviously people jumped on that and said like, "Oh, he's calling us clueless or stupid now."
Mm.
But that's every manager goes through it because every manager does lose their patience at the end. To get all that abuse you like all the time. There's constructive criticism, but at the end of the day, that just to you that just feels like more abuse then because it's mixed in with everything else. And yeah, but that's how it is. It's a lot of the Twitter users, not all of them obviously, but like Twitter is just a place where it's always partly cloudy, not partly sunny, if you get me. But especially when your teams are winning.
It's
but
difficult to navigate. I put something up on Twitter yesterday, which as soon as I'd done it, I wished I hadn't. But you live and learn. Like I've avoided talking about the Gareth Bale stuff specifically because I don't want to give myself and fellow Cardiff City fans false hope. And I saw the report which was being tweeted about, which was, I think it was the Matt Lawton. And what I didn't like about it is it was being reported as new, like it had happened this week. It was a new bid and this, that, and the other. And I put a tweet out and I said, there has not been a new bid this week. Nothing's changed this week. Just because you report old news as new doesn't make it new news. And of course, my DMs and my notifications went crazy in about 10 minutes. But it wasn't done out of like, what's the word? Like I wasn't trying to be like this in the know person. My only motive was I see and myself, like I see how excited people are about an ownership change. So if I know something to be incorrect, I feel that I've got to say something. And again, probably should have just done what I've done for the last couple of weeks and just say nothing. And then when I know when something does happen, then I'll talk about it. And I'll talk about it till the cows come home. But yeah, there it is. It's we live and learn,
poison, isn't it? It's pick your poison. You either talk about it and then you get drama about it, or you don't and you have to suffer in silence. So yeah, but no, I think it's just
a blessing and a curse, mate.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. By the way, I know you're absolutely knackered. You're on your free will wherever you go. I'm not trying to force you out, but I don't want to.
No. Once I start talking, mate, I'm a bloody nightmare. I've got to go. I'm very tired. I know you've got you've worked hard on getting some stuff ready. I'll have a look at the comments before I go to bed in a minute. But again, like loads of people have messaged me today, and I just haven't replied because I've been either driving or recording or talking or doing something. I got like 50 odd messages to go through. All I will say is that, look, thank you very much to everybody for all the support on the channel and to me personally. I genuinely really appreciate it. I'm very tired and very emotional. I appreciate it. Please spread the word and get behind not just myself, but Evan and Matt, Rhys, Rob, all of the boys, and then the girls will be back doing the match day vlogs as well. Like we're all City fans at the end of the day, and we live and breathe it, and we just want to bring you guys interesting content. I put out a video on Perry NG earlier, which was interesting. Darko Gyabi one yesterday as well. When it was, I got one on Cybert Mansbert coming as well. I got one on Isaac Davis. I got one on Kean Ashford coming. Lots of videos coming. I've also got a vlog from today as well, which I haven't decided. I don't do vlogs really. I'm not really good at them. I don't like them. Like the girls and Matt do a good job of them. I just can't. I don't know. Find it difficult to find the balance with it. But I probably will put it out. It'll probably just go to members. But yeah, that was cool. Anyways, something
more
different,
incentives to become a member, guys.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. Membership. That's what allows us to do 7 days a week content, twice a day at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say twice a day at this point. Yeah.
Right.
Be grateful.
you have a great show, mate. And
have a nice sleep.
I'm gonna go have a cup of tea and a smoke and go bed.
Yeah,
Obviously, if you do have any problems, mate, don't have my phone until 10 anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be all right. I got all my company beer with me anyway, so I managed to get in. So it's just getting out now.
Top man.
Right.
Yeah, Jonathan in the chat. I am going to do one on Lucas Bergstrom, but you'll have to give me a few days. But I will do one. I did see your message, mate. I just forgot to reply. Right, next one. Take it easy, spread the word, all that good stuff, and have fun. See you later, boys and girls.
See you soon, Si. Rightio, left with me. Okay. Well, yeah, that was very interesting. I literally, by the way, I just found out about that that news minutes before we came on live. So yeah, it was very surprising, really, sitting down with Omar Riza. I'm going to go through loads of comments as well. I have got my own stuff to get through it, but this is going to be a fun thing to for the second half, just to make it more interactive, because I've not got anyone else to help me with this. So this is the first time going live on my own, kind of. So yeah, let's just see. We got your. I mean, yeah. Final. I'll say again, like, rest in peace to those. It was just a tragic things has happened the past few days. Just it don't feel real right now, but we look forward to move on with this and give it the proper send off. But yeah, let's go for it. So, where do Cardiff City stand in terms of League One? What chances do we have of getting promoted? First of all, I want to get your comments down below. Where do you see us finishing this season? Like, just purely on how things are right now. Where do you see us finishing? Because I know transfer windows only just really open, and we got a lot of things to get through. Really, I reckon there'll be more people going out than there will coming in, if I'm going to be honest. And I think maybe even BBM said that, if I haven't already said, he wanted a tight-knit squad. I'm always interested as well when I saw posts about when the new kits were released. Some of the youngsters there were Naikura was there, which was interesting to see. I think he was the only and Dylan Lawler, the two youngsters there. So that basically confirms they're going to be, let's say, playing a big part of this season, which would be interesting. Let's see. We got here. Dan says second. Ian says fourth. Jonathan says second. If we would have signed Paul Mullins straight back up, I don't know. Has he gone to? I think he's gone to Wigan, if I'm right in saying. I'm not sure if it's like a loan or permanent. I'm pretty sure he's gone to Wigan. I'm sure he was there before. I can't remember, honestly. Let's get Josh to comment real quick. What did I say about Riza? It seems very data driven. Perhaps that's how he found Salik. I mean, possibly, but it's really hard to say. I don't know, because like, he obviously, it was all set up against him. It was hard for him to succeed, really, with the circumstances he was given. Again, it's not like he was given a full season from the start. It was the transfer window basically closed, and then Bullock gets sacked, basically. And yeah, like, what was really shocking him was the signings he brought in. It seemed like he really fought hard to get those 3 signings in, and I'm just so glad we got Salik, honestly, because even if he gets sold now, let's say we've signed him, I think it was on like a 3.5-year contract or 4.5 years, something like that. So regardless, he's going for profit, right? So, and I know Brian Murphy, when he says, we've got the ball now court to sell players if we need to, not if we just want to, whatever. He's not going to go for less than 3 mil. I can guarantee you that. If he's going, then he's going to a championship club for at least 5.5 mil. And if he doesn't, I'll be absolutely shocked. Mark says top 6. We're going beaten. Hang on, let's see. We're going unbeaten and go up as champions, but also in top 6. Maybe just draw every game. But to be fair, that's what we did a lot last season. We ended up getting relegated, bottom. We must get complacent. I think we must not get complacent just because we were in the championship last year. There's still good teams in League One. Yeah, for sure. Like, and fourth is completely respectable. And by the way, there's no right or wrong answers in this. And when I show you the calculator, you might be a bit surprised at where I put Cardiff. Purely, again, this is not just where I've placed them. It's not like a tier list as such, but it's more of I've gone through every single prediction of every team, not just Cardiff. So it took me a long time. So, I appreciate my efforts. and I've just found out where every team ranks, who's getting relegated and everything. Again, it's partly my opinion, but it's also how it's turned out in the calculator. Yeah, I see. Yeah, you correct yourself there. So yeah, I wouldn't say Mullen is that bad, but I think he didn't really cut it. I don't think he's going to cut at a championship level. I mean, he was injured a bit last season. I think he had 17 games and only like 3 goals or something. So yeah, maybe it was kind of the hype train. But like I mean, I'm sure he has memories from his League Two days, and I can't remember if he was at the non-league. No, when they got into League Two, yeah. But yeah, let's one more quickly because I can see Sarah's put this in. I've literally said about this one, Callum Patterson, free agent. I would get him in. Honestly, like I don't care in any kind of role, just being around the club. I just think he's a great personality, and he's just like he's a massive engine. Just get him in. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you basically this tier list, and I'm going to go through of what the calculator has said. I might show you a picture first of all, just to show you what we're dealing with and make sure I don't show you the wrong one. So for the first 10 games, I'll just show you quickly. This is the kind of format you've got here. So yeah, the first 10 games, and it's like an online calculator. Let me hide this again. And it just goes through everything like a regular season would. So let's go. Let's share my screen, and I'm basically going to go through of what it says and see where I think Cardiff's going to finish. Let's get this up here. Let's move here. Okay, right. Okay, so let's get this up. Anyone think we're getting relegated? First of all, let's see. Like our predictions were the best. Yeah, they weren't. They weren't good actually. I think I predicted us to finish 5th, and yeah, the less said about last season, the better. But if we're all going to be honest, we all thought we would finish a lot higher than what we did. So yeah. Anyway, I need to get up my sheet. Yeah, I just want to see. Is that not okay? That's not going to show. I don't want to surprise anything. So at the bottom of the table, getting relegated, and I forget there's actually 4 teams that get relegated in League One, so we have an extra chance to get relegated. I got to try and find them now. So the person I predicted or calculated to get bottom was Stevenage. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't see where the results come from budget wise. They probably got one of the smallest budgets, I think. Again, you can disagree with this, but I don't know a lot about League One teams, so I've kind of gone a bit of last season and what other people have said about their clubs. I've been going on a few different like fan channels, like Cardiff City is a fan channel, so I've been going on a few of those, seeing what they're saying about where they see themselves finishing. And sadly, I don't think it's looking good for Stevenage. Again, everything could change. This is League One. I was going to say the Championship. But yeah, so second bottom then I have gone with, if I can find them, Exeter. I think they've sold a few of the players. I think Joel Colwell spent the second half of the season on loan at Exeter. I got to be honest, I don't think there's anything that really excites me about them, or there's any key players in their team, correct me if I'm wrong, that are actually getting snapped up really. So I just feel like this squad isn't good enough overall. Again, it just comes down to personal preference. It's just what I said. They actually finished on 30 points, Stevenage on 28 points on my calculator. Next, I've got, where are they to? I can't find them. There they are. Newly promoted Bradford City. They finished on 33 points. So they actually drawn like the most games. I put them to draw 9 games out of all the bottom 4. And what's interesting, I will say as well before we continue, is that you can actually draw a lot of games and still do pretty well in League One. This is the thing, right? In the Championship, you can't really draw a lot. If you draw a lot of games in the Championship, you're more likely to get relegated. Whereas if you draw a lot of your games in League One and win a good handful, then you're pretty much safe, which I think is a really interesting thing. I'm not sure why, because it's still the same amount of teams, but maybe it's because the league's a lot closer, like it was last season for the Championship. But the final, with Bradford, I just don't really see I don't know. They might surprise us, but I've got some other teams that are newly promoted to stay up. So those are just one of the few. And the last one, and I'm really not confident with these, but I didn't put them bottom, or didn't have them bottom, on 34 points finishing was AFC Wimbledon. I think they really struggled to get up to the to League One. I was really shocked when they did. I think it was, I can't remember what team they versed now. Someone will find in the comments. I'm really sure. Was it? It wasn't Doncaster. No, they've gone up already. Someone will find in the comments now who AFC Wimbledon beat, but it wasn't like the most convincing 1-0 win. I think it was 1-0. Yeah, it didn't really convince me at all. Now we go to the lower end of the table. So I've gone for Mansfield, and I know that I think Aidan Flint's still there now, Cardiff, former Cardiff player. I watched his play another team last season and really didn't impress me at all. I thought like it really shows the different levels of League One football between like the top ends and the bottom ends. And this is why I think we should at least get relegated, because with Brian Murphy, at least get us playing some better football than at least 5 other teams. So we should be fine there. They finished on 39. I've got Peterborough next. I'm not going to spend too long on many of these teams, but Peterborough is one I will, because they basically lost a lot of their players on the free, which I think is the most stupidest thing. We tried to get Ricky J. Jones. I think we were also linked with that Cipriano, that midfielder. So, yeah, I just think that a lot of the good players would go in and the ownership's a bit of a mess. And you know what happens nowadays. If you've got bad ownership, then it's not looking good for you anyway. That just tends to be the trend. Then I got Northampton. I just think they're a team that will do more or less nothing. They won't be really scared of relegation as such. So Peterborough had to finish on 43 points. Northampton on 54. At the end, I might show you the end of season results, but I want to keep a secret for now. Let's just see. Yeah, look. See, look. This is the thing. See, I originally at the start of the season, if I was to show you, like, I basically took screenshots of every 10 games of what it looked like, and for the majority of it, Peterborough were down the relegation zone. It was only later on the season, purely because, and you've got to think of this as well, right? When the January transfer window opens, form changes for other teams. Like for us, for example, we always do terrible over Christmas. I'm sorry if this is really small for you to see, by the way, but we always tend to do terrible over Christmas period. I just don't know why, but it's always the case. And then we get the January transfer window, we get a few signings in. That can completely change up your squad. So yeah, that's why I kind of said, I think because they have a bit of the budget and they just have a bit more experience in League One, I feel like it'd be enough to keep them out. But it's not by any means, let's put these where they should be. But it's not by any means to say that they will or won't do, well. Oh, hang on, never mind. They are here. Yeah, Northampton 54 points, and then Burton, Albion. I put. Let me make sure I got this right now. Sorry, I got my microphone away. 16, 17. Yeah, just making sure. To be fair, Burton is the most Burton place they can finish is 17th, if we're being honest, on 59 points. Then Wigan, I feel like Wigan is kind of like a sleeping giants, really, because I don't think there's nothing that excites me with Wigan. I mean, I think it's Paul Mullen's gone now. Yeah, Marcos, that's completely fine. Burton was, to be fair. The thing is, right, when I did this calculator, it predicted a lot of positions different to what my free predictions were. So the tier list I made now, right? I made this a while ago. I did my own thing, but it ended up being a lot different to the calculator, because when you're actually inputting every single prediction for every single game going on, it's really interesting to see that, like, whilst you might say you predict teams to finish here, here, and here, the results will tell you otherwise. Because again, you got to think of, like, it's not just who you're playing, but it's the occasion as well. It's the time you're playing them. Is it your first game of the season? Are you playing 2 or 3 big teams in a row? So, for example, let's say if Peterborough were to play us, Luton, and Plymouth, the 3 relegated sides, then in a row, let's say, that's probably, unless they really do really well, that's probably going to add to a long-term bad form for a while, and it might take them a bit longer to catch up. Just like where we had, we come across loads of easy teams who thought we were gonna win against Oxford, against Luton, but then we lost against those teams. And what happens? Our bad form continued through other games as well, because the players just weren't up for it or whatever else happened. So yeah, I can understand your point about having that. I'm not sure about the keeper, I got to be honest, Jonathan, but I take your word for it. They got a cracking keeper. Not sure whether any other players are like. I think they used to have a really pacey squad, and they got that Scott Lang. Was it to Portsmouth? I think I can't remember if this was for Portsmouth or if this was for Wigan. But I think he scored like a hat trick against someone last season, or the season before, in my opinion, to be fair. So yeah, they've lost a few of their good players, to be fair, to teams like Portsmouth and I think Oxford as well. But again, this could be completely wrong. They might finish first. Who knows? Let's carry on going. So I've got 20th, 19, 18, 17, 16. Okay, so we're on to mid-table now. So mid-table, let me get my thingies up. Sorry, my microphone's in the way of everything. I've gone for Doncaster. I don't know why. This is one that is a bit sort of thing, but I just know that one of the newly promoted teams are going to do pretty well, and I just think it's going to be like a northern side. I'm sure Doncaster's up north. But yeah, I've got the division 63 points, only 2 points above Wigan. But below Wigan is a fairly big point increase then. So, it's fairly close around that spot, and followed by Reading. Now, Reading was one I didn't agree on being 14th. I thought they'd be a bit higher. But the results, like, again, when I put them up, that's just how it was. And again, goal difference can be a thing as well. So on 65 points, put Reading. If anyone knows, right, does anyone know if, yes, it's Callum Malang, that's who it was for Wigan. Does anyone know if Yaku Mete is re-signed for Reading? Because I've heard rumours about it, but I'm not sure if it's actually true. Sam, I'm going back and forth jumping between corners. Sam Tickle, the Wigan keeper, yes, I recognise him now, yeah. Very highly rated. And to be fair, you said that, what happened? It was, who got relegated with that Johansson? Yeah, Rotherham had that Johansson keeper, a really highly rated keeper. They still got relegated just because of the amount of shots they face. And now he went to Stoke. He's also a really highly rated keeper as well. But again, no keeper's too good to keep the team up sometimes, and that's just the case how it is. Let's where are we now? Then I've got another newly promoted team. I've gone for Port Vale, and again, not quite sure, but there seems to be a bit of hype and confidence around Port Vale. I think it's just going to be one of the is it called the dark horses or the wild cards of the season, and it's my hot take as well that they will just be the best performing out of the newly promoted sides. I think a lot of people expect them to go straight back down because I thought they'd been in League One for a while, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong again. But yeah, so far, what have we learned? I think we've got all the newly promoted sides in the table right now. Who's after Port Vale? Port Vale sits just 1 point above Reading for me, 66. I've then gone for Rotherham. I believe it's their 100th year anniversary this season. Hopefully for them, they'll be hoping not to get relegated like we have on 125th year. So yeah, that's the less said about that, the better, really. And then this is where it gets really tricky because there's the rest of these teams I could put in the top 8, but obviously they couldn't because that's just how it works. But this is where I really struggle with. It's because all of these teams could finish in any order. And if it weren't for this calculator, I would just be constantly changing my predictions. So let's get it up here. We have got just after. I haven't put them in yet. Just after Rotherham, I have gone for Stockport. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, that's it. So Stockport County, they did really well last season. I think David Chalner, I think if he's still there, is a really good manager. The only reason why I put them as 11th is because of the teams above them. And I think you probably understand why, but you'll see now. Let's just quickly, because I don't want to ignore you all, let's just quickly look at some of the comments here. So I'm going to go right back. Okay, so we've got some predictions from Jonathan here going down. Wimbledon, Macclesfield, Peterborough, and Doncaster. Interesting. I think you mean Mansfield, but yes, I think it is. Yeah, no, Macclesfield are a different team. But yeah, I think, I can totally see that happening and in that order as well, if I'm being honest. My honest predictions would be Wimbledon bottom, but according to the results, a bit different. But apparently they didn't concede a lot last season. Again, I'm doing this as if I know everything about League One or League Two. Max has had Burton in the bottom 4. I think I already said that. Let's have a look. Jonathan, BBM will draft in some serious pace, hopefully with his contest. Yeah, and this is why I see us finishing a lot higher than people think. It's just, I know he's not as experienced as some coaches in League One. And look, I get it. Like having like someone like a Dave Challoner would probably be a safe bet for Cardiff to get for manager. But at the same time, it's a lot more exciting going for a bit younger coach, someone who hasn't really been tested that much. Again, I know we say about Omar Riza and we screamed about his inexperience, but again, we all know the reasons why he didn't succeed at Cardiff. Let's be honest. I just think that Brian Murphy's got some fresh ideas that League One isn't prepared for. This is my genuine thing. I'm quietly like confident about this. The longer this goes on, whereas before we had a manager, I was thinking we're gonna probably go down again, if I'm being honest. So yeah, that's mid-table for the 75 points. So literally, I put a 7-point gap between Rotherham and Stockport. So it does actually get a bit bigger there. So after Stockport, then some people really like shout at me for this, and it's whatever really. It's your opinion. I've gone for Plymouth. I genuinely think they lost a lot of their good players. I think one of them might be coming to us. No, Darko Giabi, I think, was on loan there because he's a Leeds player. I just look. I think what's his name? Randall's gone, and who's the other one? Ryan Hardy's gone to Wrexham. I think that's a good signing. Still for about like 700-800k, so it's a fairly good price for him, really. I think this is a rebuilding season for Plymouth. I think it's unrealistic to expect all relegated 3 teams to go straight back up. Whilst it's possible, I just think there'll be at least one of the teams that won't do it. And I think it'll be Plymouth, if I'm being honest, because there's so much hype around Luton at the moment. It's going straight back up. You swear they'd already back in the Championship. But yeah, going for Plymouth. It's nothing disrespectful. If anything, I think it's respectful amount. Like I would, if in the mess that we were in before we had Brian Murphy, I would have taken 10th, honestly, just to sort of steady us a bit and stop the fall. And above that, I've gone for, Wycombe Wanderers. Another team I think did well when they had. God, it's escaped my mind now. I have to rely on the comments again. He's gone to Luton now. I know he has. Was it Bloomfield or something? His name was. But yeah, when they went to him, I think they did really well. I still think they're good with a new manager. Again, can't remember what his name is. I just think there's too much competition there. Them to finish on 78 points. And I will tell you, the next 2 teams above Wycombe also finished on 78. And just narrowly missed out on the playoffs, purely because of the fact of goal difference, which I think is really interesting. And only a couple of goals between them, really. So above Wycombe, I've gone for Lincoln. I don't know why. I just think they're really going to ace this league. I think they did all right last season as well. And I don't know. I don't know what it is about them. They're a team that I think they're quite underrated, if I'm being honest. And, there's a good chance they could get relegated or do much worse. But I just feel like one of the less recognizable teams are going to do really well this season because there's always someone that pops out of nowhere. I mean, who really expected Sunderland to be top of the table at the start of the Championship season last year? There's maybe a couple. I had Sunderland, I think, to finish 15th, 16th last season, which was crazy. So it shows how good my predictions were. But if we're being honest, it's impossible to predict. So Lincoln, I had to finish then. Also on 78 points, I've gone for Leyton Orient. I think they did really well last season. I put them there because they have 2 Welsh Dragons on there. No, just purely because I just think these teams will do a lot better. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So here we go. Now we go to the playoff spots. So this is where I bring Blackpool in. It can't get any better, can it? It can. So there's actually 6 points between Leyton Orient and Blackpool for me. Again, a lot of these teams, they say the same thing. I just got a feeling this is what I predict to be. I think Blackpool keep a lot of their decent players. I think they got some really talented. I say youngsters. They had quite an aging squad before. I just think they've kept hold of the better players. And I just think if they keep building, they're going the way they're going, they will probably sneak in playoffs. Do I think they'll get promoted to Championship? I don't think so. I think it'd be one of these other teams. So far I haven't put Cardiff in it because I think we're getting at least playoffs. It's crazy. 5th place, I've gone for Stephen Schumacher's Bolton Wanderers. There's not much else I can say about this. I think Bolton fans and Barnsley fans will all be confident they can storm this league because of the progress they made. And that's why I've got them and then Barnsley right next to each other because why not? I know if Callum Fowler's watching this video, he'd be happy that we're finishing fourth. But yeah, literally 85 and 87 points. And this is where we get to the top three. And I know people are going to be like, oh, why has he done this? But yeah, so I want to just check the comments, see if everyone's just gone mad over my predictions. Yeah, Mansfield, not Macclesfield there. Jamie says the officials will be poorer. I don't know, will they? I guess less of the decisions will get picked up on. It'll be, less broadcast, I suppose, and maybe they get away with more. Can Sheffield Wednesday be relegated to the lower leagues due to their wage crisis? Yeah, they got a 3-season transfer ban already, so I wouldn't be surprised if they also get like a 5 or even 10-point deduction, which basically wouldn't confirm the relegation, but it'd be a hell of a thing. And I've heard that Danny Roll as well is wanting to leave. Whether he's left or not, I'm not sure. But it'd be a horrible situation. These times make me grateful to think that we've got someone like Vincent Tan, as odd as it is saying that. But there's so many clubs that are worse off than us that oh my God, at least we got someone who's constantly pumping money into the club. Whilst he might be chucking half of it down the drain, I just, in these times, it makes me grateful that we have someone like Vincent Tan instead of a Mr. Nobody who hasn't got a clue. Well, not has a clue, but Chancery just not even paying the players. I don't understand how they came to that conclusion of thinking, maybe we should have done the maths on this first. I'm not really sure about Paddy the Boys. I hear the names mentioned a lot of times, but I don't really know much about them. Still being there, shooting ourselves in the foot. He wants full control. I think, from what I've heard anyway, that the board and Paddy the Boys have put their suggestions forward, and Brian Murphy says, in the nicest way possible, no, and saying I've got my own ideas. And I think when you sign him on a 3-year deal, you're basically telling him, build your squad. It would be the most, I know this is probably the most Cardiff City thing anyway, but it'd be the most moronic thing to think that you would give someone a 3-year deal and then basically say, right, you're only in charge of the team you have right now. We'll sign you the players. We'll do everything else for you. You just focus on what you've got. It would be the most moronic thing, but at the same time, it would also be the most Cardiff City thing to do. I know that BBM is going to want to have the control. He's going to want to have at least majority say or last say on who comes in and who goes out. I think he'd be smart about it because, not many players have gone out so far. A few have. I think you want to see what people have got. And the fact that I see people like Ryan Wintle and Keanu Tete going back quite motivated, it makes me a bit skeptical, but it also makes me quietly optimistic to see what they can do with them. Okay, so we got one more playoff spot, and I have gone with, you'd be surprised with this, I've gone with Luton. Honestly, I hate how everyone just predicts Luton to finish top. I think they won't. I think that they will get to playoffs, and I think either Bolton or Blackpool will get it. I don't know. I don't see Barnes. I can't see Barnes. I think Barnsley will be in League One for a bit longer. I got a feeling. I just don't think Luton will do it. And this is the thing, see, because everyone says it. I know everyone said about Birmingham, and they did go back up. But let's be honest. So even with Wrexham, it wasn't they still lost quite a few games. And they still got second. So it says anything can really happen. And it's just a question of whether I've got as first or second as automatics. Because yes, I genuinely believe that we are going straight back up. And you can call me delusional, but I put myself first, and I will actually show you the I don't know if it'll show it that well, but I will show you all the points and everything now, and it might make a bit more sense. But yeah, I genuinely believe, I think Huddersfield's got a really good chance. Everyone's raving about them as well, going back up now. I think they got good youth players as well. I think they use their youth academy pretty well. I mean, they sold that Rudoni to Coventry, and that was probably the best bit of business they did, really. And I think that's freed up a bit of money. I think he went for about £1 million or something. Probably could have got a bit more from him, if I'm being honest. Yeah, Sarah says, I like you thinking, unless you're referring to someone else. I don't know. Look, the thing is, I'm one of these guys. I'm a contradictionist, or whatever the word is. I like to sort of oppose views just for the sake of it. But at the same time, I never would have imagined myself putting us first. I just look at our squad and thinking we've kept a lot of good players. Like we've we've we're not perfect, okay, but we've kept the majority of our best players. Okay, Aaron Ramsey, injury prone, whatever, and let's be honest, he's only going to become manager or a different part in the coaching, department. He was, let's be honest, he was never going to play League One football. He wasn't going to take a second wage cut, was he? And no, he wasn't getting paid £62,000 a week, whatever people are saying. It's just not true. He's not getting paid anywhere near that much. Well, at least to what I know. But he wasn't going to play loads, and it was going to be a pay-by-play basis at the best case scenario. Apart from him, Joe Rawls, sad to see him go. But at the same time, it's like you understand he's taken up a lot of the wage himself, and 15 years is a good way to leave the club on. And again, new manager, new change of new ideas as well. I don't think he's got the pace or the fitness now to really last it. He's got the physicality in some ways, but again, it's like this is where he starts picking up more regular injuries, and we don't really want that. And for someone who's only going to be a rotation player in League One, it's just too big of a wage. So, oh god. But yeah, that's why I see some of the comments going in. Grateful for Vincent Tan. No thanks. He has ripped the solo club. And Fisherman, I completely agree. He has, changing to red was enough. And that was just before I got into watching Cardiff, or just after, I think. And yeah, look, I know. I think there's one way you can be grateful in certain ways and not in some other ways. I think you can be grateful the fact that he has kept the club afloat in terms of only now we've gone back into League One. Yes, it was an absolute shambles, but there were some high moments. There were, we got the Premier League twice under him, I believe. So, but at the same time, yeah, I think it is time for him to go. I think his family urge him to get out as well. The problem is now, this is my worry now. If we go straight back up, he's going to think, oh, I can get more money out of this now. We can go up to the Premier League and do double promotion back to back, just like Wrexham did from non-league and all that. And I don't like the way that goes. But at the same time, if we get promoted, we get promoted. I just know that he needs to get out of the club, man. He needs to sell up. But I'm sure the Salah case has something to do with it. Mark is egging me on. Yes, thank you. Made very good. Huddersfield made very good transfers, but they managed a league grant in his first job, so I'm sure. I think that's kind of the exciting part about it, is that like with BBM, it's not his first job, but he's untested. So it's like that's like could be a good thing, but it also be a bad thing. And that's the exciting part about it, honestly, because other managers don't know how to prepare for this new playing style, this new management. It's like you see when you have game day, like Omar Riza was big on this, of like he would be very flexible in his approach. Oh, sorry, I got tired. I had a long day. I think I'm preparing for this video. No, but I think with Omar Riza as well, it's kind of like it was the case of you see what the other coach does, and you kind of match them up. If they go 5 at the back, you go 5 at the back, whatever, and that's the kind of thing they do. But when you have like a new coach coming in and you have no idea what his playing style is going to be, so you don't know how he's going to use the players, I think that can be a benefit as well. But again, we'll just wait and see. I'm not sure. Well, yeah, if you're referring to us going up straight at first, yeah, why not? And this is the thing, see, I genuinely am confident. I'm quietly confident. I'm more, publicly confident now. Why not us? And that is such a good question, Phil. I genuinely think, because again, like last season, I was, we were all a bit sort of out of our depth, thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna get promoted, and then instead we got bottom. But at the same time, it's nice to go in with that confidence, and I think I do like the, the feeling of not being favourites to go up, because then it makes the revenge story all the better. Sorry for giving you some noise, by the way. It's not the best, but we're being with it. We're almost through this as well now. But yeah, everyone say like, Mark says, what's your top 2? Sadly, Tan is a Deadpool. Oh, is it Deadpool? But yeah, God, I should be going to bed as well now. I'll be wrapping up soon. They got 700k for Hardy. The only player that could score goals, Maxi, this star centre back, scored for 1.7 mil. Jeez, okay. If some get there early enough, they might get a game. I'm really tired now, so trying to bear with this. Some fans get there. Okay. All predictions pages are writing us off again as well. Someone's fighting relegation again. And to be fair, mate, before we had the manager in, I wouldn't have minded it. I think with the turmoil the club was in at that point, the indecision, I'm just thinking like, oh, this is going on for ages. Like, I was thinking, oh, we could get back to my relegations, only because of like the teams that done it before, like Sunderland and Ipswich as well. It was, I can't remember. That was probably a bit long ago. Yeah, it wasn't encouraging, let's just say. And I was putting this around 12 finish then, but I was very big on BBM, and the fact that he's in now is almost like I still don't believe he's in. I'm gonna get rid of this screen share now, so we don't really need this. Let's go. But yeah, I think it depends really because of like the state of the club. Obviously, you could say it's bottom or in a relegation scrap. But I just think that because of the new changes that come in place and the fact that we've offered someone a 3-year deal, which hasn't happened in 14 years, that signifies change. That signifies that something different is going to happen, whether it's going to be good or not. But you can't tell me that there isn't going to be some kind of positive change in the way we play football. It just has to happen. Whether we get the results straight away or not, I don't know. Like you can see some people, they might start and they might be, fourth place. Like if I was to show you every single match day and like the trend of like where Cardiff were in the first 10 games, so we were like third and then we were like fourth and fifth, hovering around the playoff zone. And then as the season progresses, we just become more, because you gotta be honest, right? We got a really good goal scorer on our team, and not many League One clubs have that. I don't know many other. I mean, Luton don't have one. I mean, they had that. Oh god, sorry, don't know that I will be into soon. But is it Carlton Morris or whatever? I think he's gone. But they had loads of players in the Premier League, playing the Championship team, and they proved that they weren't good enough. So I don't think that many clubs like us have that proven goal scorer, and Salah is that goal scorer, providing he stays. I still think there's chance for him to get snapped up, but at least we get 6 mil from. God, I mean, I would think 10 mil plus minimum, really. But who knows? Who knows? He says he wants to stay, but that's just what the player says. Sometimes they don't have a choice in it. We just really need people who can support the goal scorers now, because as well, if Isaac Davis stays fit, you've got 2 really good strikers there. I think a League One, you tear it up because of his pace. I think his pace has probably knocked off a yard a bit since his injury, and like even saying stuff like learning how to run again because of the recurrent injury. But I don't know. I think the likes of Keane Ashford will really shine. I think he'll tear up in League One, and then you've got so many promising youngsters, and again, you have even more of the youngsters who can play in the cup. And again, I'm not too bothered if in terms of the cup, I wanted to go full out league. Just play the youngsters for the cup. Honestly, okay, Carabao Cup or whatever, for sure, FA Cup, you can give it a bit of a crack. But I really just want to give that all to youngsters and then focus on a young squad anyway. So yeah, let's have a look there. Salah's very hungry, and the Jack's been trying to say they're buying him. They can't afford him. It's just comical as Portsmouth saying it about Robertson. I don't think Robertson will go to Portsmouth, because there's a reason why he chose Cardiff. He had the option, didn't he? Because he went on loan there, and then he chose to sign for Cardiff. Now, he could have easily chosen to sign for Portsmouth, but he chose Cardiff. So what does that say? Like, Portsmouth might still want him. Maybe Portsmouth not even in the race for him. People just making that rumor up. Because how would you feel, right? If a player you really loved played for your club on loan, went back to their club, and then you think, oh, okay, we've got promoted now, we could sign him on a permanence. Oh no, he signed for someone else on a 4-year, 5-year deal or whatever. Like, and then you go and try to sign him. For me, I don't think it's smart business, if I'm being honest, because obviously, getting relegated, his value had dropped a bit. He hasn't impressed me this gone season. I have to be honest, Robertson hasn't. I'm sure there's been other stuff going in the background, and it doesn't help when the rest of the team doesn't pull their weight. I think this is a good test for him. I think in League One, he's got to regain his form. I think this is for a lot of people. This is their redemption season. If they can't do it this season, then there's no point. I still don't think Callum Chambers should be at the club because of his wage, and two, he didn't impress me at all. Chris Willock is another one, and again, we kind of bank on the idea of like them just performing, just magically performing because they step down a level, they'll perform, but it's not always the case because then they expect it to get easier and then they won't try as hard. But under the right coach like BBM, he's not going to take no rubbish. He's going to be like, okay. And he even said himself, this is the one thing that he said that made me change my mind about everything and think that we're going to finish first, which is he said something along the lines of, by the end of the season, all the players will be sick of me. And I love that. I absolutely love that because no manager says that. Obviously there's loads of other things that managers don't say for good reasons. But he didn't just say that because he wanted to crack a joke. There's some truth in that. He even said, Alex Robertson's probably a bit sick of me by now. Because it means that he's constant. He's so passionate and he wants success. I know he's not Pep Guardiola, and I kind of hate it when they make the comparison or the relation to him. But no doubt that he's had some mentorship from Pep, and they've got that same success, that winner's mindset, the breadwinner, and that's what's going to carry us over the line. There's going to be a massive mindset change. And the one thing that got Wales playing really great football was Bellamy's philosophies, Bellamy's mindset. You just look at him, it's like he doesn't want us to associate ourselves as underdogs. And, we went on a 9-10 game unbeaten run. It was ended by Belgium, and even then we lost 4-3 only. But here we are. Sorry, I feel really rude, but I'm going to end it now. So let's just go through the last few comments very quickly. In your comments now, just comment if you have any hot takes for the season. So anything that you think will be surprising for the season. A hot take could be something like, I don't know, none of the 3 relegated sides will get promoted again, and that is completely possible. My hot take, let's have a look at what we got here. I'll quickly show my calculator just so you can all see how it is. So the end of the season, there it is. Can't see the bottom, unfortunately. I got us finished on 96 points. And then Huddersfield on 89 is probably really small for you. My hot take is that, I don't know. Let's have a look at the comments, see if anyone's got anything to say at the moment. New captain, Chambers or Wintle, maybe. I don't know. I don't think Wintle deserves the captain. I think he's got the right attitude. From what I heard, let me take this down. From the stuff that went on the season before, I wasn't impressed with how he handled the sacking of our Bullets. I think that him and Bahari and G are probably a bit of a problem duo. This is only my guess, but I just got a feeling it is. I got a feeling Bahari and G might be leaving as well. Look, if it went for that, sure. If his head's screwed on properly this time, sure, why not? We need to give it to someone who's going to be playing most of the games, someone who's who could look up to. I even think it's not a bad idea giving it to Salek. I don't think Jack Annick. I don't think keepers should have a captain unless it's really necessary. I think captain material I see is like a centre half or a midfielder. But I know obviously midfield can change loads. Honestly, I wouldn't be against. 1 second. My throat. I wouldn't be completely against Ruben Colwell getting it and leading by example because BBM spoke very, very highly about him and it seemed like he was in his plans. So I would not be surprised if Ruben Colwell was like vice captain or something. Here we are. Ruben captain and Wintle as vice apparently. Oh wow. Well, I say it's a young captain, but I genuinely think he has got some early leadership qualities about him. And I think it's trust. It's showing you like, look, I give you everything. Now give you the tools. This is everything to succeed. Make a name for yourself because this is a season for Colwell and it's a season for loads of others. I think if Tanner stays, it's his season and it's Kean Ashford's as well. Those 3 players, and again, they all kind of linked closely to each other. This is the season they got to do it, and this is why I think we'll finish first. Because if we don't finish first, I don't think we'll get playoffs. I think it's all or nothing. And, maybe we finish second. I think that's what people say second, to be safe and not seem like, whatever. And I was like that, to be fair. I said, we'll finish second because Luton finished first. But this is make or break for a lot of players. And if not, then I don't really know where we go from here. Like, people say, let's rebuild. Let's just have a season in League One. I don't think this club that works that way. This is the Cardiff City way. We have all or nothing. It's never boring here, right? We're not going to like play it as if we're just having a rebuild. I don't think we can do it. Don't think financially we can do it either. I think Vincent Tan can. So he's going to put everything he can out to BBM. Hence, probably why he's got the 3-year deal, just to to give him some kind of urgency. We really want to rebuild the squad and everything, but we also want to get back up as soon as possible. And that's how I see it. Hot take, or maybe it's just a good take, really. Salah to break the goal scoring record for League One. That is a very good shout. And to be fair, that would probably be mine as well. I think, starring that one, well done, Jonathan. I just think that's a really good shout. Because I was thinking, if Salah stays, he's going to get at least 20 goals, at least. And I think the goals will be a bit more spread out this season over who scores it, which is why I don't think he'll score bags and bags, but I won't be against it, There we are, Salah to score over 25 league goals. Again, I could see that happening as well. Capaccio to be starter. I'm not sure if that's a hot take or if that's just forever. But yeah, I think we'll see him a lot more involved, as well as Nyakua. Could be the making of Ruben and what he needs. Yeah, generally, I think, again, for a lot of people, it's make or break season. I think Kieran Ashford, I think he'll be an underrated one. People haven't said much about. Towards the end of the season, he looked really good. He looked really sharp. His ball control is much improved. His dribbling as well. It's his final delivery for me. It's the last man, or just he sometimes knocks it a bit too far on the last man and then he goes out of touch. It's really frustrating, but you want to have the patience with him. But there's something in there for him. And I think League One will be perfect for him, because if we were Championship, we wouldn't want to loan him out to League One because he's probably too good then. But because he's with us now and he's one of our own, I think this will be a great test for him, because we can't sell everyone, and I'm surprised at the moment how many people we've still got at the club. I think you see the likes of the 2 Callums, O'Dowda and Robinson, keeping Chambers probably, got to keep 1 Callum. And then who else probably go? I can't think off the top of my head now. There's someone else in my mind. But yeah, I think those 2 are pretty much out the door now. I wouldn't be surprised if they go elsewhere, probably Championship. I think they're too good for League One, but I think the 2 Callums there, one had it up here, the other one patchy, and yeah, I don't know. I wasn't calling them thick, by the way. I was just saying, like, one seemed a lot more consistently motivated and responsible than the other person. Let's just say. Last few comments. A hot take for Championship. Okay, Hull to get a transfer embargo for missed payments. Again, the ownership's a mess. Let's be honest. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I did an early prediction. I predicted them like second bottom. Like first was Sheffield Wednesday. Then I put Hull. I think I put like Preston or someone else, or QPR down there as well, or Charlton. One of those 3 teams. But yeah, that'll be it. Any news in season ticket sales? I'm probably the wrong person to ask, if I'm being honest. I think we sold about like 11,000 around that. More than Swansea anyway, so yeah. It's just crazy to think. I think we've sold more season tickets than Swansea, yet we're in a league below them. So if there's one thing to sort of say away about, it's probably that. Oh God, I've skipped one. I'll come back to Jamie. What we need this year that we haven't had is luck. Yeah, we didn't really get the luck when we needed it, but at the same time, I believe in creating your own luck. We didn't, it's a numbers game at the end of the day, and we didn't create our own luck. Too many wins turned into draws. It's just, this is the problem. See, we drew too many games, and I mean, Simon said it at the start. If we had won a couple of those games, even if we lost a couple of others, we still would have got more points and probably stayed up. But it's because we drew so many games, there wasn't as much urgency for change. And again, partly is the blame on Riza for that, but like we've already covered, there was so much more going wrong at the club, let's be honest. Back-to-back wins would be a good start. First 6 games are crucial. Yeah, we haven't got an easy first 6 games. I think we've got both Luton and Plymouth. Is it? Yeah, both the other relegated sides in the first 6 games. That'll be really interesting. I think we'll beat them both. I think we'll draw against Luton, but we'll beat Plymouth. We've got to do another 5-0. That'll be nice. Let's have a look. So, last few ones. Yeah, Robinson to Preston North End or Dowler to Oxford. It wouldn't surprise me. Probably is already done deal, just not public. I got a feeling. Preston North End's a bit of an odd one, though. I don't know. I know Robinson, I think, played them before. We'll see, though. Not a hot take. Hull got given. Oh, they have. They got given. Wow. There we are then. That sums it up, does it not? Less injuries would help. I think we were heavily injured in the forward area as well, weren't we? We had Tanner out. We had Isaac Davis. This thing with Isaac Davis, he's got to do it this season. If he can't stay fit, we're going to have to sell him because we can't give him like a new 3-year deal if this keeps going on. But again, he's such a key player for us. I think I genuinely think if we're for Salek, Isaac Davis is our best player in the squad right now. If let's say everyone was 100% fit. It's just a shame that he isn't, because when he came back, he was scoring goals, which is crazy to think. It's just good to have them at the start when the squad will be injured. I mean, look, there's always like Isaac Davis a couple of seasons ago got injured before the season started, so there is a chance of that. I do think the one thing I'll end on here is I'm not that impressed with the preseason friendlies. I think it would be nice to have a mix of, not so good teams, average, and then at least one team that was clearly better than us. Like, Hertha Berlin, you could say was. I think we drew against them, but then again, they had Kanga playing for them. But like the season before, we had SC Braga, we had Porto. We went to Portugal and played teams, and yeah, of course, we didn't win a lot of games. But where did we finish? 12th, 13th. We finished a decent place then, better than a lot of us thought, I think. And I think that's the thing is you don't want to give them too many big preseason friendlies to get anyone injured. But you want to chuck one big team at least, make it worth the travel for people. You know what I mean? Like Yeovil Town and whatever. It's like, yeah, we don't really, they don't really travel to see those games as such. Just, no disrespect to them. I think it would have been nice to just have at least one home friendly as well, which I'm surprised we haven't had any. But there we go. What can you do about it? But yeah, I'll end on this one. Jamie, will we have a better pitch or worse pitch due to cost, or will it be the same as they're not cheap? I don't know. I'm still waiting on this new ground, if I'm being honest, mate. All I just ask. Oh wait, are we talking about training, or are we talking about the games? Because I mean, yeah, that's another point that you mentioned there. Is other teams as well. The stadiums and the pitches will be different, probably worse quality as well. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a scrappy sort of thing, but I think we'll weather the storm well. And yeah, that's about it. Apologies for kind of dying out towards the end then, metaphorically, because I'm very tired and I need to get off to bed now, I think. But yeah, that's just basically my predictions. I think Cardiff will, I think we'll do it. Let's get up one more time. Where is it to over here? End the season. This is what I predict. Get your predictions as well afterwards. Put in the comments below who you think will get automatic promotions, who you think will maybe get relegated. Please don't say Cardiff. No, we won't cancel your comment, don't we? But yeah, I can't see us. I see us either doing everything now or nothing. And I genuinely think, I can hope now I can come back to this video in a year's time or so and say I was right, and I'd just be I would walk on with the biggest ego ever, being like, yeah, this is the guy who predicted us. But who knows? We'll see what happens. As we say, like whether we finish top or bottom, it's Cardiff City, and it's never boring. It's never boring. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, everyone, for tuning in, for commenting as well. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please do become a member. But as I can see, basically everyone here is a member, which is great to see. I think there's a couple that aren't. It's literally the price of a cup of coffee, if not cheaper. But yeah, thanks all for joining, and good night.